The muzzle flash rips through the night like lightning, and Deputy Matthew Cole feels the heat of the bullet whip past his ear. Glass bursts somewhere behind him, showering shards across the gravel. A woman's scream cuts through the chaos, raw and desperate. The trailer park is alive with panic, porch lights flickering on, shadows jerking across rusted mobile homes. Cole presses his back against the cold metal of his cruiser, radio spitting static and shouted orders. "Stay down, Matthew! Suspects got the yard locked!" His partner yells. But something is wrong. A flicker of movement on the porch where the gunfire came from. Small, fragile, his chest seizes. A toddler, maybe 2 years old, stumbles into the open. Barefoot, diaper sagging, a stuffed dinosaur dangling from one fist. No parent, no protection, just a child wandering straight into a kill zone. The radio howls again. "Do not move, Cole. Backup is 2 minutes out." But the toddler totters down the steps. Stuffed dinosaur slipping into the dirt. 2 minutes might as well be forever. Matthew stares at the child about to step into hell. This wasn't training. This wasn't protocol. This was the moment. He lunges from cover, sprinting into the yard as bullets scream past. And for one breathless instant, the world waits to see if Matthew Cole just made the last decision of his life. Have you ever had to be brave when it mattered most? Tell us below. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful true stories. 6 hours earlier, Matthew Cole sat at his kitchen table, laptop glowing. Alice's gap-toothed grin filling the screen. She held up her latest masterpiece, crayon strokes exploding across the paper. "See, Daddy? That's you stopping the bad guys," she said, jabbing at the blue stick figure with square blob on his chest. "And this is your super shield that protects everyone." Matthew smiled, sipping coffee. "Honey, I'm just a regular cop. I write tickets, assist individuals with flat tires, and ensure that the rules are followed. Nothing super about it." Alice's little face went serious. "Nuh-uh. Grandma says police officers are real superheroes, and superheroes always save the day." He chuckled, but folded the drawing carefully, sliding it into his shirt pocket. "I'll keep this with me tonight, for luck." "For power," she corrected. She pressed the paper against her chest like a shield. Heroes need power to be brave. That image stuck with him. An hour later, Matthew rode shotgun in Unit 47. His partner Owen Clark steering through Riverside's quiet October streets. The radio hummed routine calls, noise complaints, shoplifters, nothing urgent. "You catch the game last night?" Owen asked, cranking the AC. "Alice had me watching some cartoon about talking vegetables," Matthew said, scrolling his phone. "Whole episode. I couldn't figure out why a tomato needed a cape." Owen snorted. "That's the gig, brother. No more baseball, just juice boxes and cartoons." Their laughter was cut short. "All units, Sector 7. Domestic dispute escalating. Shots fired. 1247 Maple Grove Trailer Park. Suspect is armed and barricaded. Immediate response requested." The mobile data terminal blinked the address. Matthew's stomach dropped. Maple Grove was trouble. Narrow lanes, boarded up homes, places where backup felt a mile too far away. Every officer in the county knew it was a powder keg waiting for the wrong spark. Owen flicked on the siren, tires biting hard into the turn. "Another night, another mess," he muttered, but his jaw was tight. Matthew pressed the crayon drawing in his pocket, hearing Alice's voice. "Heroes need power to be brave." As red and blue light washed over the streets, he had no idea this call wouldn't just test his courage. It would tear apart everything he thought he knew about being a cop, a father, and a hero. The trailer park was a chaos. Red and blue lights strobed off rusted siding and shattered windows, turning the night into a fever dream. 6 patrol cars jammed the gravel lanes, sirens fading into a ghostly whine. Neighbors huddled behind police tape, some crying, others shouting, forced into helpless spectators. The air reeked of gunpowder, fried oil, and old trash. Matthew and Owen duck walked towards the makeshift command post, which was hidden behind a utility van. Sergeant Mills stood waiting, headset clipped tight, his voice terse and stripped of anything resembling calm. Suspects David Brannon, 34, multiple priors, assault, meth, resisting arrest. His ex-wife showed up to pick up their son for a court-ordered visit. He lost it, started shooting as she tried to leave. Owen's knuckles tightened around his clock. Where's she now? Safe. We got her clean 10 minutes ago, but Brennan still holed up, angry as hell, and he's got enough ammo to turn the trailer into a war movie. Mills flipped his notepad, scanning. Every time we try to raise him, he fires back. 37 rounds in the last hour. Talks about propane tanks. Matthew followed the sergeant's gaze. 3 tanks leaned against the porch railing like a tripwire no one wanted to touch. Each silver cylinder gleamed under the cruiser lights, shadows crawling across their metal skins. 1 bullet, 1 spark, and half of Maple Grove would ignite. Anyone else inside? Matthew asked, though dread was already coiled in his gut. Negative, except... Mills hesitated, then read from his notes. Neighbor swears she saw a toddler earlier. Brennan's cousin's kid, maybe 2 years old, no confirmation. The words landed like a blow. 2 years old. Matthew saw Alice at that age, clumsy steps across their living room, determined eyes, that joyful shriek every time she toppled onto the carpet. He forced the image away, jaw tightening. Owen tried to keep it practical. We need comms, get Brandon talking, stall him until SWAT. Mills nodded. Already tried. He fires the second anyone gets close. He is spiraling. As if to prove the point, another volley erupted from inside. Muzzle flashes lit the broken windows, each thunderous crack bouncing through the park like cannon fire. Officers hit the dirt, instinct taking over. Matthew counted 7, 8, 9, 10. Then silence, heavier than the gunfire itself. And then Matthew saw movement. The front door of the trailer creaked open, its hinges crying. For a split second, he thought Brennan was stepping out, ready to unload on every cop in sight. But the figure that appeared was smaller, fragile. A toddler, barefoot, diapers sagging, curls lit by the rotating lights. A faded Sesame Street t-shirt hung loose around thin shoulders. In one fist, the boy clutched a stuffed dinosaur, the green fabric frayed and dirt-streaked. His wide eyes blinked at the crowd, confused, uncomprehending. Matthew's breath caught. The boy tottered forward, unsteady on the wooden steps, oblivious to the weapons aimed. The officers crouched, the trailer that could explode at any moment. Jesus Christ, Owen whispered. Kids walking straight into the kill zone. Training screamed in Matthew's head. Contain. Wait for SWAT. Do not move without tactical cover. His body knew the rhythm. Stay low. Assess. Protect civilians from distance. That was the protocol. That was survival. But then, the boy stumbled on the bottom step, dropping his dinosaur into the dirt. He looked down at it, lip trembling, then reached towards the toy as if that scrap of cloth and stuffing was the only safe thing in the world. A gunshot cracked. The bullet sparked off the metal steps inches from his bare feet. The boy froze. Then he began to cry. Not tantrum crying, but the raw guttural sobbing of a child who knows danger is real but doesn't have the words for it. Matthew's hand went to his vest pocket, fingers finding the crayon drawing. The paper was soft now, edges worn from being folded and unfolded. Alice's thick figure beamed up at him, cape trailing, one hand raised high. "That's you, Daddy. You're my superhero cop." Owen's grip locked on Matthew's arm. "Don't. I know what you're thinking. If you go out there, Brennan's got a bead on you. You'll die, and the kid's still screwed." Another shot rang out. Dust puffed at the toddler's feet. The boy flinched and dropped the dinosaur again. Then, mesmerized by the lights, maybe, or by instinct, he started walking faster, not away from the danger, towards it, straight towards the perimeter, where flashing sirens painted the night like a carnival, straight towards the crossfire. The radio crackled. "Command to all units, hold position. SWAT 15 out. Repeat, hold position. 15 minutes." Matthew's pulse hammered. The boy was barely 20 feet from the trailer. If Brennan aimed again, if he had a lighter, if one shot hit a propane tank, 15 minutes might as well be 15 hours. "Matthew," Owen hissed, voice breaking, "don't throw your life away." But Matthew wasn't seeing Owen anymore. He was seeing Alice, toddling across their living room carpet, grinning up at him, unafraid. He was seeing her hold the throwing to her chest like a shield. Heroes need power to be brave. What kind of power was it to stay crouched behind steel while a baby wandered into hell? What kind of hero did that make him? The boy bent down again for the dinosaur. Another round whistled past, so close the fabric fluttered in the muzzle blast wind. The child stumbled, confused, then clutched the toy to his chest, tears streaking his cheeks. Matthew gripped the drawing tighter until the crayon wax smeared against his palm. The cape in Alice's sketch seemed to ripple as if alive. He looked at the boy, then at the trailer, then off at the propane tanks gleaming like metal coffins. And in that second, Matthew Cole knew there was no more waiting. He stood. "Cole, get down!" Sergeant Mill's voice howls across the radio. But Matthew is already running. He can't stop, not when the toddler stands frozen just yards ahead, hands clumped to his ears, paralyzed by the storm of sound and light. Time thickens, details sharpen unnaturally, the tears streaking the boy's face. The dull gleam of propane tanks stacked beside the trailer lit up each time Brennan fires. 20 feet might as well be 20 miles. Matthew's heart bounced like a war drum as he barrels forward, half expecting the next shot to drop him cold. The third bullet blows out the rear window of a rusted pickup to his right. The fourth rips his sleeves open, fabric fluttering. He doesn't even look down. Brennan's aim is sloppy, meth, adrenaline, maybe both, but wild rounds kill just as effectively as precise ones. 10 feet, 5 feet. Matthew dives, wrapping the boy in his arms and dragging him behind a concrete utility box barely wide enough to shield them both. His lungs burn, chest heaving, ears ringing with each crack of rifle fire. The child looks up at him, brown eyes wide, uncannily like Alice's. "Mama?" he whispers, the word fragile and cracked. Matthew swallows hard. "It's okay, buddy, I've got you." He fumbles for his radio, one arm locked tight around the child. "Cole here, civilian secured. I need immediate cover fire to relocate." Static, then Mill's furious reply. Cole, you just walked into a kill zone. Do you want a death wish? The kid was going to die. Matthew shoots back, voice flat. I couldn't sit and watch. He risks a glance around the barrier. The trailer looms 40 yards away, but the open ground between feels infinite, unforgiving. The boy's 30 pounds are nothing in his arms, but it might as well be a stone anchor. Matthew knows the truth. There's no cover, no path back, just prayer and reckless courage. Then, Brennan appears, a silhouette framed in the trailer window, rifle steady, movements deliberate this time. He's no longer spraying, he's aiming, directly at Matthew's position. The concrete barrier won't hold, Matthew knows it. One well-placed round will cut through and turn their sanctuary into a coffin. His mind fractures into choices. Training screams one answer. Return fire. Draw, aim, neutralize. Tactical doctrine says precision will end the threat. But he's seen too many scenes like this. Adrenaline screws aim. Panic twitches fingers. If he misses, Brennan disappears back inside, ready to fire again. Worse, if a bullet clips one of those propane tanks, everyone here will die. Or he can do the unthinkable, become a wall, shield the child, trust the vest and pray his body can absorb what concrete cannot. Matthew's throat tightens. Alice's voice echoes. Heroes need power to be brave. He presses the boy tighter to his chest, curls around him, making himself a target. Stay with me, buddy, he whispers. Stay low. The rifle cracks. Impact slams into his shoulder blade like a sledgehammer. Pain radiates down his arm, hot and blinding. He stumbles but holds his ground. The child whimpers but doesn't loosen his tiny grip. Another round smashes into his trauma plate, dead center. The force steals his breath, his vision flashing white. He tastes iron, biting his tongue in the fall. His knees dig into the dirt, but he doesn't move, doesn't flinch. Gunfire doesn't stop. A third shot shrieks, but sharper, different. Then silence. Matthew doesn't believe it. His heart still hammers, his ears still ring. He presses himself tighter around the boy, braced for the next shot. The radio crackles. Suspect down. Sniper neutralized the threat. Repeat, suspect is down. The words don't feel real. His body refuses to believe it's over. He stays locked around the child until another sound cuts through. The pounding of boots. Owen's voice yelling his name. Hands grip his vest, pulling him upright. You crazy son of a bitch, Owen says, voice breaking. Matthew looks down. The boy clings to him, alive, wide-eyed, but no longer frozen in terror. Small fingers reach into his vest pocket, tugging out the crumpled crayon drawing Alice made. The child studies the stick figure. Then, Matthew. Hero? He asks softly. Matthew's composure shatters. Tears blur his vision as he pulls the boy closer. Both of them shaking, both of them alive. Though Matthew knows survival is only the beginning of the price he'll pay. The aftermath doesn't come with silence. It comes with layers of noise all at once. Sirens fading, radios crackling, medics shouting orders. It feels like the world refuses to let Matthew breathe. He sits on the bumper of an ambulance, vest peeled off his body. The ceramic plates tinted and scarred where bullets slammed into him. The paramedic holding them up whistles low under her breath. 2 inches higher, officer, and we'll be taking fatal. You realize that? Matthew nods numbly, though his ears are still ringing. 2 inches higher, and Alice's drawing would be in a morgue box with him. Next to him, a toddler clings like a barnacle. The boy's name, they've learned, is Tommy, 2 years old, Brennan's cousin's son. His little fists are balled in Matthew's uniform shirt, refusing to let go no matter how many times the EMTs try to ease him into their arms. He's fixated, one paramedic explains softly. Sometimes, children attach to the person who pulled them out. You're safe for him now. Tommy's head is buried in Matthew's chest, his breathing quick and shallow but alive. That's all he cares about. Alive. When the EMT finally coaxes the boy for an exam, Tommy only agrees if Matthew stays within arm's reach. A flashlight beam sweeps his eye, his pulse is taken, and a stethoscope is pressed against his ribs. Physically fine, the paramedic concludes, dehydrated, underfed, but you reach him in time. Another hour and she doesn't finish the sentence. Matthew exhales, tension leaking out of him and shudders. But then, Tommy notices the crumpled paper still in Matthew's vest pocket. The drawing, Alice's masterpiece. He pulls it out with small dirt-streaked fingers, studying it like scripture. You like that picture? Matthew asked, voice hoarse. Tommy nods solemnly. Hero! He taps the blue stick figure with its crooked cape. Then looks up at Matthew as if connecting the two. The words cracked something inside him. Before Matthew can respond, floodlights snap on across the trailer park. A news crew has arrived, their camera crews setting up like sharks scenting blood. A reporter's voice cut through the air. An officer who broke protocol exposing himself to gunfire. Some call it reckless, others call it heroic. Tonight, Riverside County is divided. Matthew watches them in disbelief. Already? He hasn't even caught his breath and the story is theirs now. Owen appears at his side, his jaw tight. Vultures, he mutters. They'll cut it up however it sells best. Doesn't matter what really happened. What did happen? Matthew asked quietly, almost to himself. Owen looks at him, eyes red. You saved a life. Don't let anyone tell you different. But even within their own ranks, he hears the rumble. Some officers shake their heads, muttering about reckless behavior, endangering the team. Others, especially the younger ones, the ones with kids, nod their respect. The divide is sharp, the whispers unavoidable. Sergeant Mills strides over, his face lined deeper than before. Cole, he says flatly, I need your statement. You broke the perimeter. You understand you'll have to answer for that? Matthew squares his shoulder, still clutching Tommy. I'll answer. I'll face whatever comes. Mills studies him for a long beat. Then, his expression softens. I've got grandkids, one's about his age. His hand brushes Tommy's curly hair with surprising tenderness. I don't know if I would have had the guts, but I'm glad someone did. For a moment, the noise fades. Just 3 of them, an old cop, a young one, and a child too small to carry this weight, standing in the echo of choices that can't be undone. An hour crawls by with endless paperwork and interviews, but Matthew barely registers any of it. His body aches, his shoulder burns, his jaw throbs from where he bit his tongue, but it's all distant. His attention is locked on Tommy, who refuses to let go of the drawing, tracing the cape again and again like it's a lifeline. Then, the headlights sweep across the scene, and a car door slams. A woman runs forward, hair wild, eyes swollen from crying. Tommy! Her scream tears through the night. My son! Marla Sanchez, ex-wife of Brennan's cousin, Tommy's mother. She throws herself forward, nearly collapsing as the paramedics steady her. When she reaches her son, Tommy's face lights up for the first time since the nightmare began. He lets go of Matthew with a squeal and leaps into her arms. The reunion is raw, desperate, so full of love that even the hardened cops nearly turn away, blinking fast. Matthew's throat tightens. But before Tommy disappears into his mother's embrace, he does something unexpected. He twists in her arms, reaches back, and presses the crumpled drawing into Matthew's palm. Hero, Tommy plays clearly. Then, pointing at his own chest, Hero 2? The world blurs for Matthew. He kneels, meeting the boy's eyes. Yeah, buddy, he whispers. You were brave. You're a hero too. Tommy nods with childlike certainty, satisfied with the answer, then clings back to his mother. Marlo weeps into his son's hair, whispering prayers of thanks, rocking him like she'll never let it go again. Matthew stands there, the drawing trembling in his hand. The paper is torn, stained with dirt and tears, but the stick figure still smiles, cape fluttering behind him. 3 weeks later, the phone call comes to an ordinary Tuesday morning. Matthew is stirring sugar into a mug of coffee, wondering if the dull ache in his left shoulder will ever fade, when the ringtone breaks through. He expects a doctor's office or another department formality about his desk duty. Instead, a warm voice with a faint accent greets him. Deputy Cole, this is Marla Sanchez, Tommy's mother. I hope it's okay that I called. Matthew straightens in his chair. He has thought about Tommy every day since the shooting, wondered if the little boy still wakes from nightmares, or if he has finally learned to sleep peacefully. Of course, Matthew says. We wanted to invite you to something. Marla continues. Tommy's turning 3 next week. He keeps asking about the policeman, the hero. He wants you at his birthday party. Matthew swallows hard, his throat tight. I'd be honored. The community center smells of frosting and balloons when he arrives. Dinosaur streamers hang across the room. Tommy's newest obsession. Family and friends crowd around, but the boy himself matters most. The moment he sees Matthew, Tommy runs full speed, cape made from a towel fluttering behind him, a cartoon badge printed in his shirt. Hero, Tommy shouts, launching himself into Matthew's arms. Look, I'm a hero too. Matthew spins him around, laughter catching in his chest. You sure are, buddy. That's quite a costume. From his pocket, Tommy pulls out Alice's drawing, now laminated. Edges smooth, safe forever. Mama says, keep brave. Hero picture makes me strong. Matthew's eyes sting. The paper that carried him through the gunfire is now armor for a child who survived it. The party is loud, chaotic, filled with love. Tommy opens presents with gleeful shrieks, but keeps circling back to Matthew, tugging his sleeve, making sure his hero stays. Near the end, Marla approaches with a wrapped frame. We wanted to give you this, she said softly. Inside is a photograph. Matthew carrying Tommy from the trailer that night, frozen, mid-stride, but someone has drawn over it, turning it into a comic book cover. Real-life superhero blazes across the top. Tommy insisted, Marla says, tears gathering. He said his hero needed a hero picture too. That evening, Matthew drives to his ex-wife's house. Alice is waiting on the porch, backpack slung over her shoulders, her gap-toothed smile a burst of sunlight. Daddy, she cries, running into his arms. Did you bring my picture back? Did it help you fight the bad guys? It helped me do something even better, Matthew says, kissing her hair. It helped me save someone about your age. Alice's eyes go wide. Really? Did he believe in hero power too? Matthew smiles faintly. I think he does now. At the park, they scatter crumbs for the dogs. Alice pulls a folded paper from her bag, another crayon drawing, 2 stick figures. One tall, one small, both in blue uniforms with red capes. That's you and the boy you saved, she explains. Now, you're both heroes, and heroes stick together. Matthew studies it, heart heavy and full at once. He slips the new drawing into his vest pocket, right beside the laminated one Tommy gave him. Two symbols, side by side, two promises to keep. The department debates still rage. His personal file now contains the phrase, acted outside established parameters. Some colleagues mutter that he was reckless. Others quietly carry their own children's drawing under their armor. But Matthew has seen the ripple. Thank you cards from strangers. An academy instructor writing that cadets study his case, not as a perfect protocol, but as proof that judgment and humanity matter too. And still, the question lingers, would he do it again, knowing the risk, the scrutiny, the endless second guessing? He doesn't answer it aloud. Maybe he doesn't have to. As he and Alice walk back to the car, she tugs his hand. Daddy, she asks, voice curious and innocent, will you always save people, even if it's scary? Matthew hesitates. There are no simple answers. The world is not as neat as Alice's crayon drawings. Not always heroes and villains. Right and wrong. But he squeezes her hand tighter. Sometimes, sweetheart, he says carefully, the moment chooses you, and when it does, you don't run from it. She nods, satisfied, skipping beside him. Behind them, faint sirens rise in the distance, pulling other officers towards other moments. Matthew walks on, both drawings pressed against his chest. Two children's faith folded into his armor. Because maybe that's the real legacy. Not the headlines, not the debates, just the simple truth that heroes, even the smallest ones, always stick together. Everyday heroes are all around us.